Okay, we're starting, today is March 28th, 2023. We're starting chapter 1 of your textbook on symmetry, line symmetry, rotational symmetry, and surface area. We're starting this by doing our surface area component first because it is a reach back towards grade 7 and actually grade 6, 7, and 8. We have 9 questions here, each asking for a different aspect. The first question gives us a square and asks us for the perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around the outside of a square. So since there's 4 sides, our formula is 4 multiplied by whatever the side length is. When you substitute the side length, you write your formula first, you substitute, you simplify. Your perimeter is 16 meters, or the distance around that square is 16 meters. Your formula for the area is side squared. So you could write your formula, substitute, and 4 squared, since we studied exponents, is 16. Your area for your square is 16 meters squared. Again, the expectation is formula, substitute, simplify, and more importantly, or not most importantly, but make sure that if you're calculating areas, you do articulate that it's square meters that are the proper units. And for perimeter, since it's distance, it's meters. In your second question, we have a rectangle. Since a rectangle is made up of 2 lengths and 2 widths, your perimeter is 2 multiplied by the length and 2 multiplied by the width. Or there are 2 10s and 2 3s that make up the perimeter. Simplify that, you get 20 and 6. The perimeter, or the distance around that rectangle, is 26 meters. For area, our formula is simply length times width, or 10 times 3, or 30 square meters is the area. That one's pretty easy because we deal with rectangles areas quite a bit. We don't deal with the perimeter of rectangles very often. Third question is a triangle. The perimeter's formula is simply side plus side plus side, or 4 plus 5 plus 6, which is 15 meters, or the distance around the perimeter of that triangle. Your formula for the area of a triangle is base multiplied by the height divided by 2. Your base and your height. Remember, your height is your perpendicular distance. Now, perpendicular is a fancy word for 90 degrees. So your base is 5. Your height is 4. When you substitute that information, you get this, which when you simplify using BEDMAS is 20 divided by 2, which means the area of that triangle is 10 square meters. Base times height divided by 2. Our next question gives us a circle and asks us for the perimeter. Of course, circles are the only two-dimensional shape that has a fancy name for its perimeter. It's called circumference. The formula for the circumference of a circle is pi multiplied by the diameter. Since the information given to us is the radius, the diameter of that circle is actually 8. So 3.14 multiplied by 8 will give us the circumference. And when I work that out, it's going to be 25.12 equals the perimeter, I think. Is that right? Maybe. Hopefully. Our units is going to be meters. So therefore, the distance around the circle, or its perimeter, or its circumference, is 25.12 meters. For its area, you learned in grade 7, the formula is pi r squared, or 3.14 multiplied by the radius squared. Since we're following BEDMAS, we must do our exponents first. 3.14 multiplied by 16, which should be doubled this, which should be 50.24 meters squared. Therefore, the area of that circle, or the amount of square units inside, is approximately 50.24 square meters of space. Getting into our three-dimensional objects, we're talking about surface area and volume. Surface area of a cube, the formula, since one face is a square, One face is side squared since it's a square. And since there are 6 faces on a cube, we use a coefficient of 6 to calculate all of the faces area. 6 multiplied by 5 squared. Calculate the area of one face first before you multiply it by 6. And therefore, your surface area on all of the faces of a cube is 150 total square meters. The formula for the volume for all shapes, it's the area of the base, all the right prisms, multiplied by the height of the prism. That formula is used for all 4 right prisms that we studied in grade 8. Since the base of a cube is a square, it is this, multiplied by the height of the prism. This one's a special one. Since the height is actually still the side length, we can simplify this down using our exponent laws. Keep the base, add our exponents. The actual formula for the volume of a cube, Avery, is side cubed. In which case, if I use that formula, substitute my side length, I will find there are 125 cubic meters of space inside that cube. So your surface area is in square meters. Your volume is in cubic meters. Rectangular prism, there are 6 faces. This red face has a matched face on the back of it. So for that one, the front is a length times width. Since there are 2 of them, a front and back, we put a 2. And we like to put an FB here to remember that that's the front and the back. The top is also a rectangle, which is also an LW. So we're going to add that to an LW. But because the front and top and bottom are the same, we use 2 LW. Should use green for that. That's going to be the top and bottom. Plus, we have a left and right. And there are 2 of them. So we use 2L. And we know you don't need the FB, TB, and LR. That's just to help you kind of remember that there are 6 total faces, or 3 pairs of faces, and that's the formula we can use. If I substitute my information, the front, the length is 10, and the width is 3. So that would be calculating the area of the front and back. For the top, the length is 10, the width is 2. That would be the top and bottom. And for the left and right, there are 2 that are 3 by 2. So once I simplify it, I do my multiplications. 2 times 10 times 3 is 60. I should use red for those of you who are OCD. 60. Plus 2 times 10 times 2 is 40. Plus 2 times 3 times 2 is 12. Once you add that up, you will see your surface area. I should use black because everybody's going to be up in arms. Your total surface area is 112 square meters on that rectangular prism. Now your volume is a little bit different. What was your formula for all right prisms? We used it in the last question. Area of the base, times the height of the prism. So the base in this case is a rectangle. So our formula for volume is simply LW times H. Substitute your information. The base is a 10 by 2 rectangle multiplied by the height of the prism, which is 3. 20 times 3 means that the volume or the capacity of this particular right prism is 60 cubic meters of space inside. We're running out of time here. I'll go fast. Actually, I'll pause here and then I'll do the second video for the rest of them after.